Hello everyone, today we are going to see how we can use our native codes in our Android applications. Android provides a toolset called NDK, which is Native Development Kit, through which we can implement a part of our application in native languages like C and C++, or even use the existing shared or static libraries in our application. So let's go and find out how we can use our native codes in our application. Okay, at first you need to download the latest version of NDK from the developer website. Okay, you can see the URL of the website here. So I have downloaded it and extracted the folder, the NDK folder, into this location. So all you have to do is download the latest version and extract the files into a particular location in your computer. Once you are done with downloading and extracting the android-ndk tool, then you are ready to go for using the native codes in your Android applications. Let's see how we can do it. So now we are going to create a new Android application where we are going to be using native codes. Let's name it ndk test. Okay, so we'll just keep it as it is. This is going to be a blank activity. We'll just click finish. So Android Studio now will open a new Android application project. Let's wait for a bit. Before going on to develop Android application which has a native part developed in native languages, you need to have ideas about some certain things. I'm going to tell you in brief about those things, those components. The first one is ndk build. The ndk build is a build script that builds your native source file into shared or static libraries. It builds the files into .so for shared libraries and .a for static libraries. And then you know that Android build system generates dex files which are Dalvik executable files, and then the Android OS runs those files in Dalvik virtual machine. So when developing a native part of your application, you have to use the keyword native before the method. Okay, so the next thing is the native shared libraries. So android-ndk builds .so files from your source source native files, and also static libraries as well. Another thing is JNI, which is Java native interface. Java native interface basically provides an interface through which the Java codes and your native language codes interact with each other. Okay, so you need to have some idea about the JNI. The next thing is the ABI, the application binary interface. This is actually this ABI actually defines how your applications machine code is going to interact with the system at the runtime. So this is actually what the ndk builds. ndk keeps in mind while building the .so files. Okay, so, another thing is the configuration files. The mandatory one is the android.mk files. We are going to go into detail later on in this video, so I'm not going to discuss it now. Okay, so our new project has been opened, so let's go and start building our application. So this is an application which we have named ndk test. Okay, so at first we need to create a new directory named jni. jni is the folder that the ndk build will be looking to get the source files from. So whenever you run the script ndk build, it will look in the jni folder to find this source file. Okay, so this is the folder where you will put your C or C++ source files. Okay, so now let's create a C file. Okay, so let's just name it ndktest.c. Okay, we are done. So this is our native code. So we'll just for this video we'll just return a string to its Java counterpart to show it on the device screen. So we'll have to include the JNI library so that we can, and also as we are going to return a string, so we'll need the string.h library as well. Okay, so we are going to return a string, so which is just string, and then the rule is to, at first you have to write java underscore the package name. So for this application the package name is .com.aru.ndktest. so just copy and paste it here and replace the dots with underscore. Okay, then the activity that will call this particular method or function, so we will call this native part from main activity. So and after the main activity you have to give a function name, like we are going to return just a string, so let's name it hello world. So this is going to be the file that you will call from your Java code. Okay, so what we are going to do here is just return a string. So here we need to get the JNI in the pointer. So we'll just return a string from here. So we are going to so our string will be named hello world. Okay, so this is it. This is our native part. So now we are done with our C source code, which we have named ndk test. So now we have to create two configuration files. The first, the mandatory ones, which will be named android-ndk. So this is the configuration file which defines the module, the native module that you are going to use in your application. So when you run the ndk build script, the script looks at this configuration file to know which module it's going to build and what are the source files that it needs to tie together. Okay, so now let's give all those information to this configuration file. The first information you must give is the local path. The local path is where your source file is located in the development tree. So the call my direct macro, it returns the current directory that the android-ndk file is residing at the moment. So here's it. The next thing is you need to clear all the variables. So we'll use what this does is clears all the local variables except the local path. So the next thing you need to give a name to your native module. So let's say this is ndk test, and then you have to give the source file that the ndk needs to build for this application. So at the moment we only have one source file, which is ndk test. Sorry. Okay. And the last one is this macro, which is the build shared library. Okay, so this build share library variable, it ties together all the source files and builds a shared library. So we are done with the android make file. So now we are going to create another file which is named application. So .mk. So this file describes the modules that your application uses. There are some informations that this configuration file provides to the ndk, like which ABI platform is used to compile for a specific architecture, and the tool chains and the standard libraries that you're going to include in your application. So here what we are going to do, we will keep this as simple as possible. So we'll just say build for all architectures, for all platforms. Okay, so we are done with this two configuration files and also our native code. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is go to the properties and set the location of the ndk. So as you can see, I have extracted the file in this location. So I'll just copy the path and then paste it here. Okay, so that when the ndk build knows where the ndk is located in your device, in your computer. Okay, so we are done with this. Okay, now we are going to build the native source file that we are going to use in our Android application. So to build those, we can use the ndk builds command. So the way I do it is I go to the location where the project is. Project is there. So this is the project that we are working on. So this is, at first select the folder, then press shift and then click the right, then you will see this option, open command window here. So you are now here in your open this command prompt in the location of your Android application. So just write the ndk build command and press enter. Okay, so there's some problems. Okay, so we may have some problems in our Android application file, which is, let's see if we can find. I cannot find the problems. Let's see what the problem is. Okay, sorry. So we have missed this symbol, so the ndk build could not find where the source files were. So just go and run the script again. It should work now. Okay, so it's working. So now the ndk build is compiling the source file into shared libraries for all the platforms. Let's wait for a few seconds before it completes the build process. So while the ndk is building the libraries, you can go and see there that in the projects part there is a folder named leaves have been created, and the shared libraries are located under different architecture types. So we'll have to wait for a few more seconds before the whole build process completes. Okay, so the ndk build has completed building the .so files for all platforms. So now we are ready to use the shared libraries in our Android applications. So now what you have to do is go to your application source and main and create a folder named jni libs. Okay, and copy all the shared libraries to this path. Okay, so as you may have noticed that we gave the module name ndk test, and the ndk build by default added some prefix and suffix, which is the lib and .so. So whenever you give a name, the ndk build will add these two prefix and suffix into the library name. So now to call the native method hello world, which we have written here, we have to define it So as I've said in the beginning of this video, that you have to mention that your application calls a native method, so you have to mention the native keyword. So it's string and it's hello world. Okay, so let's see if the name is okay. Yeah. So now we need to load the library, and we'll do it in the static part of the activity. So to load the library, we'll call system.load library and give the name. So while giving the library name, exclude lib and .so, just give the name that you have given as the module name. Okay, so which is ndk test. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we'll see if our we have correctly integrated the native part in our application. To do that, we'll go to the layout file and give it an ID so that we can reference it later from our Java code. Just so whatever the hello world function will return, we'll show it here. Okay, so it's already written hello world, so that it doesn't arise any confusion. We'll replace it with like set test. So when this method returns hello world, it shows hello world here. So now we have to call the native method and show the returned string into the device screen. So we will now call the native method. Okay, so now we are done. So let's see if we can if we have done everything correctly. So now let's run the application to see everything is working fine. Okay, so the Gradle build is running. So here's our device where we're going to test it. I previously ran the application once, so that's why it's showing this screen. So now after installing again, let's see what it shows. So now as you can see on the device screen, hello world is shown, which is returned from the shared library that is built from this source file, which is ndk test.c. So this is how you can use your C plus or C++ course in your Android application. Plus you can also use pre-built, shared and static libraries, which you don't have to build again using the NDK, and you have to just put all those pre-built shared libraries for different platforms into the specific folders under the JNI libs directory. So this is it for today. Hope this was helpful for you. Goodbye.